Zenith Seeker, that's what she does is when you play her. Her commands in the GETBs means enters the battlefield. You can look at the top 6 cards of your deck and you can pick a demon, dragon, or an angel. One of them, or all 3 of them, or 2 of them, and you put them into your hand. So they become the second portable. This is one of my controlling areas we have a whole bunch of unreadable. But yeah, okay, just to legit, she has a whole bunch of I love this commander. I really do. She's mardu, which means she's white, black, and red. So you know, I really do just a whole bunch of global options. And you can actually play just like a list of like big conspires, usually that can help in the game themselves. You know, and have them like about 20 creatures, you know, 40 flex slots, whatever you want to be. Otherwise, you know, this commander can hold your hand with creatures, so you can always stumble back some decent winning conditions, especially when you're getting the higher mana values. I suppose one mana turns would convert in mana cost. So, let's go over to Kaalia here. Like I said, I'm really like this commander shit was 3 with 5 red ones. Alright, so as Rogers, you'll have these, you know you'll love it, you'll hate it. And access to creatures control the authority of those power. Once you start a set, pops a covenant creature plans power from your right to a once. If you take it, which means it's an additional cost that you can pay extra mana from, that's what kicker means. And it pops a creature plans power regardless of its mana value. When you deal 3 damage to any target, with no existence and you bury instant gods. And exiles are effect enchantment and sorcery speed. Twin pops any creature that's not black. A brain. It deals 3 damage to target creature or pops an artifact, pushing dragon foul, deals 3 damage to creature planeswalker. If they were to get into the graveyard, it gets exiled instead, fracture, pops target. Artifact, enchantment, or planeswalker, level 1 deals 3 damage to target creature planeswalker, or pops an artifact or enchantment. Arcane Thing hits after your commander's mana colors. Those 2 are, it's about like Arcane Thing that you pay a color. And it comes into play tapped, and you cast from that color. So slow, tap back, convert Arcane Thing. Anything with a turn one that's got fly, and your opponent can't play cards with greater than the target cost. So if it's turn 3, they can't play anything that's like a 4 drop, basically, or 5, or whatever. And makes it eternally day, which stops the day and night cycle really for level. That's why we don't play it for that reason. We play it because it stops random. And the chance of permanent, it can't attack, block, or remove vehicles. And its activating abilities can be activated with their mana abilities, which most of these types of cards have that type of effect where their mana bleed. Some will attack mana. With containment, you can change the non-land permanent, and it's just turns them into a treasure jumping. So it's a very effective form of removal for 3 mana, brings in give your opponent a mana back. It's a little bit of a remedy. There's one advantage of those cards are hand standard. It's got flying at the beginning of each episode, and you gain 5 life. You get 4 for flying vision with the angel, so it's as angel. When you make 6, it's on the turn, it gets up to 2 lifeline, so it can activate itself. It's an angel, sparring ability. Excellent card, it's my first form of method in this game. And yeah, it's just a good card, it doesn't mosaic, so you don't need it, but it's good. It's Valkyrie, it's got flying, Valkyrie angel or cleric, enters the battlefield, you gain life equal to its toughness, and you have 7 more life and extending life coefficient above the 32 life or more. Your creature get 2/2, so it's a win condition. Here's combo but not target. Creature on the planeswalker, very simple stuff, it's 3 mana, 3 card. Notice Rider does the same thing as Tornado with damage, except you lose 2 life. And then it's a 2/3 with lifeline, which means every time it deals damage, you gain that much life. And then when it gets sent to the graveyard, it gets returned to the bottom of the deck instead. This guy's higher. You get death touch, and then when you ever attacks, you got his burst ability, which he needs to attack. You can tap to, and take your target card from your deck and place it on the top of your library. So you get 2 real fast. It just seems a little bit slow. If you have a way to like draw and then in the turn, you can choose a frequent recovery how your combo targets him with something, he deals an extra 2 damage first. His menacing is just a move your body for 3 mana. And his stun abilities are Storm Ring, Boss Target Land, Void Destruction. Local Awakening, you ready to move target cards from your hand back into your deck and make all enemy cards +1. You put them at the bottom of your deck. So it's like a hand replacer. Multiply constant enchantments or creatures, and maintenance cards to work together. Command enchantments are everywhere in the hand. The enchantment decks are strong. Command Lantern attached to 1 mana of any color that hate like it's an effect on your lands when they tap for any color. Mana Heal taps your 1 colors when it comes into play as well. I mean, this is only a common, because I think it's a really good mana rock though. I like this card a lot. I never feel bad about playing it, because I'll prescribe one of the students in the connection. Then hopefully you're not going to come under this and leave them. They put away something they don't need. So, even though Larry has a little bit of the square one, Beginning Ring, it has 1 mana of any color. The beginning of your opportunity because it has a color on it, and though it has 8 colors, you remove all the colors and make 8 copies of it. So it's a boost of the win condition because once you have like 8 mana, like taps for anything on your opponent, you're pretty good. You can start just casting whatever. And then you can start get the cost that we have in the deck and stuff like that. So if you can, it's only a combination of 3 cards, but I think we put in everyone has any 3 o'clock. That's one of the better ones that we got. So I don't know, like, it's a rare, but that it's indestructible, so it taps 1 mana of any color. If you kick it, you get 2 copies of it that are tapped. They're literally tapped. So it's cool if you like the level up with the ropes like I do. Because it can be, popped. In the wrath, you got air, so you can be acting a red, flying like a red, and when you kick her, she comes down and deals 2 damage to any target, and then you gain that much life because she's got lifelink. So she like shock something, which is the 2 damage, and you get a little bit of life. She's really full of lifelink, and once the body's not super aggressive with the mana, you can remove X off the artifact or X off the enchantment. I think this card's excellent. It hits 2 very important archetypes that X off them. That's why you play it. I see that for Frost Tiger. He's a dragon. He has flying vigilance. Vigilance means he doesn't untap when he's attacking. And flying means he flies over things, so things are not flying. Overreach can't block him. And then when he gets popped, he turns into a sword bat. Gets to attack vigilance and attacks to our creature as they attack. This has to take pops velocity out artifacts and enchantments in the way, and then it just pops the creature and lands over. You go from mastery, you can pay 2 instead of 4, and if you pay 2, you're going to drop the card that exiles target creature and lands over. So if that costs 4, it costs 2. You still feel me, this guy's cool, he's got flying minutes, and at the beginning of your end step, he basically curses the card in your hand, so when you play it, you lose 3 life as you cast it. So, and even like, it's like old school demon or demons have like a curse effect that like has a certain downside, but you get a strong creature on him. He's particularly strong as a flying in a 6/6, pretty much almost always promotes damage as he attacks. So if you're running to the odd demon, X out each creature kills in mana value, so like, 2, 4, 6. But you're more likely to come to the play as a tap that, so it's more across the creature. Next mastery, you can play an instant or sorcery in the graveyard and recast it. If you overload, you recast each card or instant sorcery from your hand. Overloading it costs 8. So, when you overload this, we got like at least like 4 or 5. And some more sorceries are pretty powerful since we all have removal. We remove probably a half of our opponent's reward. From the bonus allows them probably get started out in the game. Why not? He's a dragon, he's got flying. The one recast is probably to discard your hand and then draw them a cards, depending on how many colors are in the spell. And then there's one we play this guy, Kaalia. And then when he gets popped, it deals damage to any target with X's and then with colors and white colors you control. So he can deal 3 damage. I'm not think this guy's like doing mono red. sub mechanic, meaning that it comes in, it comes around this stuff, and then it goes away. Until we decide to bring it back, the afterlife is pretty fair. As long as we can see it come back. Beautiful mechanics, add values to the creatures. Astro Predator was quite awesome. You got floating and whenever he taps, he exiles a card from the graveyard and gains a 1-white counter. But you can sacrifice a creature and tap him. And he's indestructible, so he can survive like bird lights and stuff. That's relevant in some other games. Moving on with them is really too much, but it's going to be extremely relevant. We're going to destroy all effects and stuff, so we will survive while everything else is gone. Nothing will be done dragons on the 4th floor, 5, etc. So, another example of this is the flying mentor. And mentor means if she attacks, if she has more attack than something, she can grant them a 1-white counter to things. And at the start of combat, you get to pick a creature on your side of the board that gets super attack, and then it gets vigilance if it's white, or trample if it gets red. So on the other hand, they call you up if you're using a abomination of this, always come the same deck. Unless you wish to feel comfortable. If you find a couple of mentors, not really a copy card from the spell book, which means you pick a card from the spell book, then you just call a card that counts for 2 mana of any color combinations, which makes it really, especially if they're high. If you've got some win conditions that feel like potion seconds on this actual win condition, this potion seconds on you cast it, if you cast it from your hand, you talk back and shoot library centers from the top, you gain 4 life, 7 life, you cast it twice, you really get one spot. For as long as you just win, so... It's got a line for strike everything. Protections from demons, protections from dragons. So that means that a really bad that steals the creatures, she can basically open the totem and go 1 and win. And if she doesn't win, she can stay at home a while. When you choose one, top 1 creature with top 1 artifacts, enchantments, good stuff. We're done whenever she's an angel, we're done when she makes our radio stronger. She has 1 for sure, hopefully other angels you control have, and you'll want to have lifelink. Concentrate, you choose one, you have the top 1 dragon creatures or top 1 non-dragon creatures. The 1 mana legacy, so it's got 1 and tranquil with pay 2 life, so that helps you surprise you like a top you was your bag, and then you can put me later to keep them up there on the top of 1 if you want to too. Those games that hit me for flying things, every attack or gets started to my spell you create from the shogun. He knows the mana up in the color and no comes to his kind of shogun, pull off, he gets your card, just a good card, you know. Like I said, we're going to game moves that flying up lifelink, and then we're going to go into a creature you control gets popped, and sends to the graveyard, and the enemy target return it back to your hand instead, and then we're going to a bonus creature to pop the exile instead, and go into the graveyard. So just go really graveyard. Double gun, it comes in with like pops all the lands, and then each of the 2 chapters, which is the bottom part of its loading, each player puts 2 lands from the graveyard back into the battlefield. So then they're all busy and cheese and play this card, like exiling your opponent's graveyard so they can't get any lands back. It's kind of a really mean way to play this card. I really don't play it now, but you can if you want to. So, it's not getting rid of this card now because I got my combos ramp. That's why I play it so much. Just choose 1 and 1 exile, artifacts, exile, creatures, exile, enchantments, and exile both graveyards. Not all graveyards, I'm really playing candidates for graveyards. Again, the card is just standard white stuff. You have 3 book white. This saves you and rescues you if you're far too far behind. Player cleansing, top 1 and ornaments. Pretty simple card, just 6 mana. It's a little hard to cast because it's 3 white. If you cast it, it can rescue you from falling too far behind. There's no way to when they if you don't know they are so stuff like a way to 4 or 5. If you need 4 or 5 this turn, or during any of the turns, because even if your opponent's turn that still activates, you hit the angel flying in the numbers. She's just like, destroying an angel so she does everything without any additional mana investment. That has a moment, you like a cascade. We look at the top card, what costs so many cards and like a mana value card, like we say we cast a 6 drop from our hand, like the top 6 cards, and we can cast anything that's 6 or less from one those for free. So it's a value engine. It's really reasonable and fair because it's 6 mana. It doesn't do anything unless it's a really slow card, but once you get it down, you're feeling pretty good about yourself because it's actually better than Cascade. It's a better version of Cascade, but it's like it only comes from hand, so keep in mind that it doesn't come from the command zone, which is where Kaalia comes from. Every time I would play it pretty much, pushing its bounce back to the hand. But when you need a 3-drop, you have 3D, not 3-drop, 3-1. When it comes to drop, solid, when he comes into play, for each creature that's not a demon, imp, or devil, and then you pop all those creatures that come with tails. So you can randomly kind of like just pull over the entire board. Same with Sky's Blade. She has an ultimate casting cost where you can tap for the fires and pay 1 light. And she makes all of the fires indestructible if you qualify him lightly. Pretty much all of the creatures are flying, so the whole entire team pretty much just that zero becomes indestructible. So extension. When you pop it from the slam and deal 20 damage to each creature and each player's mother, pretty much removing everything because 20 damage is a whole lot of damage. Then, the way Marcus to the woman, she comes in the buildings a flying vigilance against, and when he attacks, since he's got 5 power, we have a 5D in our library and we can cast a spell from the removals with 5 mana, so he can cast a lot of removals, so he can come down, swing, and roll out to the knots so they don't have the removals, he can cast a removal for us for free. Under the version, as a top of light source, or you cast it for 8 mana and it pops all non-land permanents, which is pretty nice. Yeah, we play it, it's like a real list. Because like the destroy the land, the destroy the non-land aspect is if we fall too far behind the enemy board players, there's certain decks that like literally you have to run board race in against them, otherwise you lose the game against them automatically. Or it's Prince of Undeath. He's a flying trample. Really enters the battlefield and he chooses 1. Each other creature gets -X, -X, so it's a creature more likely to put enough mana into him. Return target X creature card with total mana value less than X. And he can, like, DM on one of the creatures, losing his ability side of the fact that he's a good player because he's a full mana 5/3.
Alright, this match is up against Lavinia, as far as Renegade. And she reads each opponent can't cast on creature spells with mana value greater than the number of lands that bears controls. When another opponent casts a spell, if no mana was spent to cast it, you counter it instead. So she's really good against recast. She's a good commander. Like, her only weakness is she doesn't really do much by herself. She's just, it's called a hate bear. And hate bears and magic are two creatures that usually stop 1 or more game actions. So she's considered a hate bear. Anyways, we both play lands, we're both kind of a slow start, because both of our decks get big manas. So we kind of take a few turns to get going. They play Curse of Silence. Usually those hard to close commanders, which they do. That makes our commander cost 2 more to cast. And then when we cast so they can sacrifice and draw a card. We're feeling fine, we're at 3 manas, we just keep hitting our land drops. They play as Lavinia right here. We can't remove her. And we play our land as a pathway, so it's either red or white. We're thinking, pick it as a white source. Then we go ahead and play Aurelia. They play Mana Tithe, which means they pay 1 mana and counter it unless we pay an extra 1. We could pay the extra 1 so she gets countered, fortunately. I get a Mauling right here. We play it as a land. Because we're moving their creature, we don't really free cast all that much in this deck. Like, we have Sunbird's Invocation, like, she would counter Sunbird's Invocation entirely, but that's pretty much all she's got against our deck. and should counter Mizzix's Mastery if we were to play that, because technically we're casting no cards for free. Because just because we pay for the Mizzix's Mastery doesn't mean we pay for the spell that it's casting. They play a Smothering Tide, which reads whenever we draw a card. We can pay 2 if we don't, they get a treasure token. We opted to just remove it with Fracture right away. Fracture pops an artifact or enchantment or a planeswalker. At instant speed for Oversoul, which means white and black. We play Vargoth, Bloodsky Sire, he's got Death Touch, and then he boasts and puts a card from our deck on the top of our deck. We play our Temple of Malice here. It's Radical Slam, means red and black, and it scries 1 when it comes into play, but it always comes into play tapped. We're probably like the weakest double-colored cycle as the scry land. Like, scrying is good, but they're out of all the other double-colored lands, they're not nearly as good. Even Mind Sensor here, that counters our Kaalia effect. When you search through your library, you only search the top 4 cards instead, and you'll see what that means here. We go ahead and animate our Dragonland and attempt to block him. But I'm pretty sure they remove our dragon here, because I'm pretty sure this guy sticks around for a little bit. Yep. They like rescue him. Because they remove him from combat, so. Play Cleansing Nova. Pop all creatures. Counter spells. So we don't get any success with that. Right here we boast, and you'll see what I'm talking about with Aven Mind Sensor. See, normally we'd be able to look through our entire deck, but we can only look at the top 4 cards. So we see a bunch of lands there. There's actually a really good boast because we sent away a bunch of lands. We don't want to be top decking that many lands for the rest of the game. Because we already had a pretty good amount of mana. Once we hit about 7 to 8 mana with this deck, we can't really, and nothing else requires more than that, more than 8, so we don't really need more than 8 mana. Go ahead and play Lavinia here. Remember, we actually missed sequence here. We should have played the Resplendent Valkyrie first, because we would have gained 5 life, off of Lavinia having 5 toughness. That's what the defense stat is called. It's called toughness. But yeah, we missed sequence here. We should have played our Resplendent Valkyrie first. Remember, he gains us life when we play Angels or Clerics, and Kaalia happens to be a Cleric too, by the way. And if we end up at 32 or more life, all our creatures get 2+2+, which is wrong. This Kaalia in land, we don't need lands anymore. You'll see again where Aven Mind Sensor comes into play. We go ahead and draw off our Curse of Silence. Actually, Kaalia looks at the top 6 cards, so she actually counters Aven Mind Sensor. That doesn't stop us. It's just you have to look through the entire library for Mind Sensor to stop you. But if it's a Kaalia like effect where it's like only the top 6 cards, Mind Sensor doesn't stop that. Aven Mind Sensor is the creature that's in front of our Valkyrie. And they go ahead and play Confounding Conundrum. That card reads as an anti-ramp card. Like, if you play more than 2 lands per turn, you gotta bounce one of them back to your hand. Like, it basically, it's an anti-ramp card that prevents land ramp from getting out of control, because anytime they play more than 1 land per turn, they have to start bouncing them back. So, we have to double block here. Because we don't really care if we lose Resplendent Valkyrie anymore. And they're attacking with Owl. We take over Owl. It gets exiled. So its ability doesn't work because it's on pop effect that it either gives 1/1 counters to your whole team or 2 of them, or it gives you look at the top 6 cards of your deck, I believe, and then you can cast up to 5 mana worth of stuff from it. Play Resplendent Valkyrie a game, because we don't care, because we have Lavinia. Lavinia makes sure that if if any of our creatures were to get sent to the graveyard, they instead get bounced back into the hand at the end of the turn. So, we're feeling pretty good here. Go ahead and send Lavinia. Actually, we opt not to. Go ahead and boast Vargoth. Again, this will go ahead and only let us look at the top 4. We keep Swords of Plowshares instead of Farewell. They take 2. They don't want to block him because he'll trade with anything. And at least, if not, like, he's a little bit bigger than a lot of their flyers, because flyers come at their downside is usually their smaller creatures. There's very rare exceptions where a flyer has as much health and toughness as it should. That very rarely happens. We decline here, because Lavinia's, Ladisa, is going to bring everything back to our hand. So, it's going to ask us if, whenever your commander changes zones, which would be like for the graveyard to the hand, or for the battlefield to the graveyard, you can opt to put it in your command zone instead. Or even from the graveyard in exile. Right here, it's changing zones. We decided to put it back in the library because Memory Lapse reads. It counters target spell, but you just pop it back on the top of the player's library instead of removing that spell forever. It just kind of temporary deals with it. It's a good counter spell because in mass, you can just keep top decking the same card, and it really starts to get annoying after a while. It's actually banned in Historic, and they opt to scoot here because we swipe their stuff and we got too big of flyers.
Alright, this next match is a loss. It's up against Ace Reaper. They're playing Gasharth, Sun's Avatar. He's a dinosaur commander. When he connects to a player, you look at the top X amount of cards in your library where X is as much damage as he dealt, and you can free cast dinosaurs. Thriving Bluff, I'm accenting these cards because these are really good for any sort of multicolored list because all the Thriving cycle is they're all commons and they all add 1 mana of base color, like Thriving Bluff is always red, and then you play it and then you can pick what its second color is. They're very good for budget players, and they're just a good cycle in general because then you can always like fix your mana based on what you actually need instead of just like, oh, I got a random double colored land, it's red and black. Well, I need white, so Thriving's like, nah, it can be a red and white, or it can be a white and black. It just depends, because the Bluff is the mountain one. They play Burning Sun's Avatar. He's a dinosaur. What he does is he's a 6/6, and then when he comes into play, you target up to a creature and a planeswalker, and he deals 3 damage to each. He's a free rare in this game, like way back when you can get him as a free rare. That's why you see him. He's a pretty decent dinosaur. He's not super great though, because he's just a 6/6 at face value. He doesn't have any keywords or anything like that. That kind of makes him meh at best. Got not to block here. We just take 5 from Wayward Swordtooth. Wayward Swordtooth is it's a dinosaur. You can play additional lands on your turns as long as you have them out. You have to like kind of go for the big greedy play because we're playing Cold Steel Heart first. You'll see why. Because if we hit 6 mana, we can play both Resplendent Angel and Kaalia, which will gain us enough life with the Resplendent Valkyrie out to trigger Resplendent Angel. We'll gain 10 life and get another free angel out of them. We're probably not going to be able to do that because they play Gasharth here. He's got cool animation because he's an older card. They used to actually put pretty cool animations in this game. They don't anymore, I think, for the sake of time and space, maybe. Or cost, too, you never know. They completely whip the Gasharth, so they get nothing. We play Kaalia first. And find a Seraphim Sky's Blade. Which if we got her down earlier, yeah, we mess up because we didn't have enough white sources to play Resplendent Angel. So that's where we concede. Because if we were able to get her down, we would have been able to stabilize.
Alright, this next match is up against Voodoo Graves. It's a win. So, they are playing Gishar Sun's Avatar. It's just the alternate art of him. Again, if he connects, you look at the top X cards of your library, where X is the amount of damage he does, and you can free cast all the dinosaurs you find. Like, he's a pretty cracked dinosaur commander, because he's got Vigilance and Haste. And remember, Haste means that he can act immediately once he hits the board. We go on and play our second land, playing Arcane Signet, say go. They're just on 2 lands. They're playing the new Caves. Or no, that's the Cavern of Souls. That's an old card. It's a reprint. It can cause whatever declared creature type to have cannot be countered. There was a big stink in that card back in the day where like Magic player was about to lose, but he was like rules lawyering his opponent. So he ended up winning the match because he decided to be a rules lawyer. Which means he's kind of like really stretching the definition of everything he's saying, you know how a lawyer is. Anyways, they play a dinosaur. I forget what his name is, but he can give himself 1 attack and 1 defense, or he can pass it on to another creature. We play Goldspan Dragon here, make a treasure token. Remember, he doubles treasure tokens as well. Get him for 4 because he's got flying and haste. Get him haste, he can act right away. Flying means they can't be blocked by creatures except with reach and or flying. Because you can have flying and reach on the same creature, just like doesn't do anything. Flying is better than reach, it's just reach can block flyers. It's to convey usually creatures that are like really tall. Or creatures that like have ranged attacks. We go ahead and play Resplendent Angel here. Righteous Valkyrie boosts us up by 3 life. Then we play Kaalia, because remember our treasure tokens count as 2. They're thinking here. It goes off. Kaalia gets a really cool animation. Fortunately, I don't really see that type of stuff. We whiff with her. I usually do. More often than not, at least once or twice a match. I whiff with her, meaning that we don't find anything. We send both Righteous Valkyrie and Goldspan Dragon on their way. They attack. Our card that lit up in the hand there is Bone Crusher Giant. We can use the Stomp side of him. Resplendent Angel triggers. We get our Angel. It's a 4/4 flying Vigilance. Vigilance, whenever they attack, they don't tap. So they can attack and block in the same turn cycle. Turn cycle being like your turn and your opponent's turn. Here they play Growing Rites of Eatlamok. That card, when you have 4 more creatures, it becomes a card that's akin to what's a card called Gaia's Cradle, which adds green mana for the amount of creatures you control. It's actually a little bit better. But when it comes into play, you can pick up a creature from your deck, the top 4 of your deck, and then you place it into your hand. So it gives you like an extra creature to play eventually. And then when you have 4 creatures, it flips into its land, which adds a green and then adds greens equal to the number of creatures you control. So it's better than Gaia's Cradle, because Gaia's Cradle itself can't produce mana unless you have creatures out. Growing Rites of Eatlamok, when it flips into it's like Cradle of Civilization or whatever, it can produce green. They're pretty much done for here. They only have 15 life. We have a big old army of flyers coming their direction. And I'm pretty sure we swing for lethal here. Yeah, we swing for lethal here. And we make a treasure token. They take the damage, and that's all she wrote. They have no response, no removals. Take the damage, and that's all she wrote. Leaving on -3, defeating our opponent. Good game, opponent.
Alright, this one's a loss. This is up against Exploding Kitty. And they're playing Amicable Thousand Moon. This is like a creature swarm list, because she puts out her gnomes. The way she works is whenever you attack with a non-gnome, she puts a 1/1 counter on herself, and then you get that many creatures for how many 1/1 counters she has. What's interesting is she borrows, which is red-white, which has a little bit of 1/1 counter synergies, but she's the first commander in this game, in Arena at least, that's like So you might want to pick her up because she's strong. You'll see in this list, they just blow us away. And I've played against her a few times since I made this video, and she's good. I think you should give her a shot. They play Ragabon here. Ragabon is one of the worst cards I've ever put into it. Worst, I mean it's good. It's extremely good, like unfairly good. Whenever he connects to you, a player, he swipes the top card of your deck, and you can play that during that turn. And he makes a treasure token. He's one of those cards that a lot of people for quite a while have been calling for him to get banned. Because it's just not fair. Oh, and the gnome comes out attacking. The gnomes. Gnome are gnomes, because they can be multiple. Anyways, here we ramp, or we think about ramping. Kind of dance around with the card, because about to start falling behind pretty quick here. Because again, the commander herself, once she gets enough 1-1 counters, she can swing in and activate her own attack trigger. So we whiff with Kaalia, we usually do. Honestly, we really do. With this card, I whiff more often than not. Unless I'm playing like a lot of creatures, like to the point where it's like almost too many, it's just a monster mash deck. I don't whiff, but a lot of times I do whiff at least once again, because like I said, I like to play her with a lot of control options, because a lot of decks, like, especially like this one in front of us, you gotta interact with your opponent. Otherwise, they will just do their thing before you do your thing, and you'll lose the game. It's just the way that it is. So we could have been in this containment here, but we didn't. So anyways, they put the 1-1 counter on the top of the sun, I'm just gonna call it that. And they get on a bunch of gnomes and start blocking off the gnomes. But we opt to go for the lifelinker instead, because that card, okay, lightning bolt or Kaalia. And this point, I'm pretty sure we just concede here, because we're to the point where we need like board weight. Otherwise, we just lose. Yeah, we just concede here. Because like I said, we're falling behind, so good game, opponent.
Alright, this next match is a win. It's up against Jason. They're playing Tiamat. She's a 5-color Dragons commander, where when you play her, you can dig out 5 dragons from your library and place them into your hand. She's pretty inevitable because when she comes down, she arms you with 5 dragons, which that's a lot of firepower in your hand. So, especially if you're playing a lot of certain green effects. Like there's a new Galta that can free cast all the creatures in your hand. There's a lot of other green cards that can put permanents into play, which any permanent, if you don't know in Magic, a permanent is a card that sticks around for longer than one phase. A phase means like instants and sorceries. See, that was a phase. The instant and sorceries happened, and then we went on to the next phase. A permanent sticks around for longer than one phase. So there's a lot of like to give a general rule of thumb, everything besides instants and sorceries is pretty much considered a permanent. There's some that don't stick around for forever, some of the older ones that have like this downside to them, but they're still considered permanents. So everything that's not an instant and sorcery is a permanent. Anyways, we play our commander. We actually didn't whiff this time, surprisingly enough. We got Immerstrom Predator, which again, he can give himself indestructible by sacrificing a creature. And then whenever he swings and he gets tapped, he exiles a card from the graveyard and gains a 1-1 counter. So he slowly, incrementally gets bigger. And he's got a cool creature type to it because he's a vampire dragon, which is really interesting to think about. They Virtue of Persistence, Locklane Scorn, which gives a creature -3/-3, and you gain 2 life. Go ahead and play a land here. We're thinking, and then we play Seraph of the Scales, which has Afterlife 2. So when she gets popped and sent to the graveyard, she makes 2 1/1 spirits with flying, and then you can pay a black, give her Death Touch. If you play a white, you give her Vigilance. Anyways, our opponent misses a land drop, which they're kind of behind on mana. It's kind of starting to spell their doom. So we take this opportunity to ramp, get ourselves ahead. We go ahead and swing. We don't bother giving her Vigilance or Death Touch because there's no reason to. Say go. They're looking. They play Eskia. The other side of that card is like kind of just unfair. It lets you just play creatures and planeswalkers from your deck for free once per turn. But if you play the front side of her, she's a legendary, and she causes like all your legendary creatures to be able to tap for mana. So she kind of is like a mana dweeb. With 1/4 with Vigilance. You mostly see her played on her other side, though. They play Quicksilver Amulet, I think is the name of that card. It's kind of like Thrawn's Temporal Gateway, except worse. Because it can put creatures into play. If you pay 4 mana, you can put a creature into play. Thrawn's Temporal Gateway works the exact same way, except you put historic permanents into play, which is legendary creatures, artifacts, or sagas. Are all historic permanents. We play Kaalia, we whiff this time, never fails. Go ahead and send our team, the Angel and the Dragon. Go ahead and exile that Quicksilver Amulet. Deal 4, or deal 8 to our opponent, because they're both 4 attack. So we have lethal on board. They played Key to the Archive. It's a day late and $1 short. They go ahead and draft their card. It doesn't matter. Because like I said, we already have lethal on board. So can't be blocked because they tapped down their Eskia, and she couldn't block anyways because they have flying. So, and then we say go. We play our land just to satisfy like our quest or whatever. Play this card just because satisfies our quest. And we keep it as fast as possible. Draw a card. And then they concede. So good game, opponent.
This last match is up against Vorinclex. He's mono green. When he comes into play, he can dig up 2 forests, put them into your hand, and he's got Reach and Trample, and he's a 6/6 for 5 mana. Then he can flip into the Grand Evolution, which like mills so many cards, and you can play a creature from among them. Distribute 7 1/1 counters, and then all your creatures fight all your opponent's creatures, and he flips back. So he's a really good mono green commander. They go ahead and play Arcane Signet. All the new Phyrexian Praetors all of them are really good. He's a really good mono green commander. I still don't actually own the card yet in this game. We go ahead and exile their Llanowar Tribe with Swords of Plowshares because it taps for 3 green mana. So we go ahead and play Kaalia here, try and start promoting some damage. We think about it, grab Resplendent Angel, say go. We're not looking too good, but it's a good thing we played Kaalia there because we needed lands, otherwise we probably would have lost this match. They Once Upon a Time for a land. Oh no, they get a creature instead. Because once you hit 5 mana with Vorinclex, you can kind of just keep recasting him, so he's one of those commanders that gets you to your mana values and stuff like that. We go ahead and play Aurelia here, Exemplar of Justice. That's in the deck tech, the card I told you, these 2 cards are 2 peas in a pod. You almost always play them 2 together. Unless for some reason you really just don't feel like playing Aurelia. Which is understandable. You could just not feel like playing her. I think she's just good in a nutshell though, so. They go ahead and play them, they dig out their 2 lands. We go ahead and use Swift End on Vorinclex. Removing him and then losing 2 life. He goes to the graveyard. They think about it, think about it, think about it. Eventually they'll put him back in the command zone. We go ahead and give Aurelia the attack bonus because Mentor, she's going to give Kaalia a counter. So we swing in for 8. We're feeling pretty good about ourselves. Because 2 more swings and then they're defeated. So from where we're at currently. They go ahead and quit here and it's a good game. Thanks for watching.